Okay, count the cost. By the way, if you hear, here, I'm gonna show you. If you hear a cardinal, it's because there's one sitting right outside this window, being as loud as humanly possible. Anyways, so if you hear him, ignore him. Today we're counting the cost. And in order to do so, there's a part in scripture where Jesus says something. This isn't the exact words, but essentially what he's saying is, he who sets off up the mountain without first researching, preparing, and packing a proper lunch is an idiot. That's like conceptually what he's saying. What he's specifically talking about is building a house. A man who sets out to build a house without first mathematically counting the cost of what it's going to take to build, he's going to become the laughingstock of the whole area, because he'll have a half-built house where he'll have to stop because he'll run out of resources, and then it'll lead to ruin. Okay? The idea there is count the cost before you set out on the adventure. Make sure this is something you can afford. Okay? So, a few questions I want you to ask yourself. One, what skills do I need in order to start, and do I have them? Do I have the skills? If you do, I would say you're ready to go. If you don't, think about this carefully. It may make more sense to find someone who does have those skills and work for them for a season first before starting your own company. Here's why. Not only will you learn the skills from a master, you will learn the business inside of the systems, the processes, everything inside the company, and you'll get paid to do it. This is massively important. Find a way to work for someone who has the skill set. That might be your just best bet. If not, I suggest you get very good at YouTube crash course master classes, because you're gonna have to teach yourself. Secondarily, the next question to ask yourself is, what materials do I need to start, and do I have them? So this one was what? Skills, and now we're talking about materials, because you will need both. Inevitably, you need skills and materials in order to start. This is a quick moment for you to take a deep breath and think that through. If you're good to go, go. If you're not, figure out a way to get them. However, here's a little asterisk I want to put on this. The majority of people vastly overestimate what's necessary to start as far as skills and materials, and most people vastly underestimate what it'll take to get to the top as far as skills and materials. What I say in saying that is, unless you obviously don't have what you need to start, you probably do have everything you need to start. You may not think you do, but you probably do. It's a very rare person that doesn't have what they need to start. It's just then figuring out what you need to get good at, okay? Assessing your weaknesses and strengthening them. However, at the same time, the other side of that coin is, hey, heads up, you're probably underestimating what it's gonna take to get to the top in this area. So just know that, it's gonna take more from you than you expect. All right, with that down, I want to look at the flip side to this. This is the side that a lot of people don't even know to look at. Now, this is very important, don't get me wrong. And a lot of people don't even do that, but some people do. What most people never do is do the flip side, which is, this is what I need to dedicate to it. What am I not going to dedicate to this endeavor? What will I not dedicate to this endeavor? What I mean by that is, okay, how far is too far? If you don't draw this line in the sand, you will cross it. Now, if you're okay with that, you're okay with that, but at least now you're made aware of it. If you're not okay with that, you need to draw a line somewhere. For everyone, that line is different. Now, I just want you to know, the more you're able to sacrifice for this, the more successful you can be in this one area. The less you're willing to sacrifice for this, potentially the more successful you're going to be able to be outside of this. At minimum, there will be more of a differentiation. So this is what people call work-life balance. If you are willing to sacrifice anything and everything, there is no work-life balance, because there is no differentiation between the two. Your life is work, your work is your life, right? If there is very, very, very little that you're willing to sacrifice, you also, almost nothing, you also don't have a work-life balance, because all you have is life and no work in your life. Does that make sense? Okay. But if it's somewhere in the middle, here's what I'm willing to sacrifice and here's what I'm not, that's your balance. And you have to define that for you. Now, within the business world, anyone who's willing to sacrifice more than you will be able to outcompete you in the business world. But those people who are outcompeting you don't have as much capacity to invest into their life outside of it. So you just have to decide, I have a set amount of resources, how am I going to allocate those to build the life I want? There isn't necessarily a right or wrong here. It's just the consciousness to be able to know ahead of time and draw that line in the sand. All right, This is the last one we're going to talk about for today. This is a floor and a ceiling. There are some aspects that it isn't a yes or a no. You have to dedicate some, but you do have to draw a line as far as how much. Time is one of these things. You can't say, I will give business my time, or I won't give business my time. You have to give some of it, but not too much. Well, at least according to you. Now, what's too much, what's too little? That's what we're talking about here. In any resource where you have to give a select amount, but you want to draw a box around how much, that's where a floor and a ceiling come in. I'm going to explain a story I heard from someone that's going to really help illustrate the power a floor and ceiling has. There was a guy who was explaining workouts, fitness, pushing yourself. He's a very fit guy. And he said one of the things a lot of people don't realize, they need to have a floor and a ceiling for their workouts. What qualifies as a workout to begin with? And what they don't realize is subconsciously they already have one, but it's probably a very skewed floor and ceiling. Once they're aware of the fact that they need to set a floor and a ceiling, they're able to have a much more accurate representation. He's like, look at me, I'm jacked. My floor is, sorry, let's start with the ceiling. Look at me, I'm jacked. My ceiling is 2.5 hours of intense lifting weights and working out. And he's like, of course, everyone knows this. Every once in a while, I'll be in the gym for a long time. But he's like, what most people don't understand, and this is why I'm able to work out every single day, is my floor is 25 push-ups and 35 squats. I can pop down and do those in 20 seconds. Well, yeah, no wonder I'm gonna work out every day, because I have to work out every day. And to me, a workout means a minimum of 25 push-ups, 30 squats, and a maximum of 2.5 hours in the gym. If I do a maximum of 2.5 hours in the gym, I will say, cut it off, that is enough, I need to focus elsewhere. But if I don't have that amount of time, I'm still gonna qualify it as a win for the day if I can drop down during my busy schedule, rep out 25 push-ups, do 30 squats, and I'm done. This is something important for you to understand, okay? So what are the areas in your business where you need to set a floor and a ceiling? Maybe you suck at tracking finances, and you need to say, okay, I'm from now on going to track all of my finances. My floor for tracking finances is literally just writing down how much and what for. And maybe my ceiling is writing down what or how much, what for, a date, a place, and attaching a photo of the receipt, okay? Obviously, you would rather have everything for every transaction that you track, but you would much rather have each transaction tracked than nothing. Maybe it's time. I'll give you an example of time with me. I had a week where I worked like 90 hours. Okay, a lot of people would say, oh wow, he's crushing it, he's grinding, he's blah, 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 blah. You know, a flex, whatever. At the end of the day, it isn't a flex of anything except my inability to manage my time. Did I need to spend that much time? No. Why did I spend that much time? Because I didn't have a good allocation of what my floor and ceiling was. If I had said my floor is 20 hours a week and my ceiling is 60 hours a week, what would I have done? I would have hit the 60-hour-a-week ceiling. I would have then had to wait and bump all the projects that I hadn't finished to next week. But in retrospect, that would have been fine. What would that have meant? That would have meant I would have had more time to rest and recover so that I could spend time with family. I could spend time doing what I needed to. I could stay healthy, and then the next week I could launch into those same projects and get them done to a better degree than I was able to in the long week that I worked, okay? I would have gotten the projects done better if I would have done it that way. I just didn't know. Anything you don't put a floor and ceiling on will take anything it wants from you. And as long as you know that and are okay with that, you're good. If not, set a floor and a ceiling. Set a line as far as what you're not willing to dedicate to this. That's going to be your outline, and then count the cost. What skills and materials do I need? As long as you do this, it doesn't need to take long. You're ready. Let's get off to the races. We're gonna start on day one.